Hello everybody, this is Chris Bird or MonkeyDude1313, and this is a master set of Diamond and Pearl Stormfront. Every single card that you could pull out of a pack from that set is right here in this binder. Before we jump into it, I'd like to mention that last week's Wishlist Wednesday was Legendary Treasures. Fantastic episode, by the way. If you like the Radiant Collection, I highly recommend you go check it out. And the previous week's Master Set Monday was Breakpoint, with some amazing Gyarados and Scizors in it, and the Megas. You won't want to miss those. Alright, so before we dive too far into the set, I gotta mention that it is a set with a Charizard in it, so we gotta dip into the trusty Charizard Binder to pull out the correct Charizard. And, as per usual, I have my French Holo Dragonite as a bookmark here. In past videos, I've said that it was either Italian or German. Completely incorrect. It's French. Alright, and another thing we're going to go through is the shiny reverses. These ones are from Platinum Base, but we got them all, and that's relevant for this set because this set is actually the first set to feature any of these shiny reverses. So, we will get into that when we get there, but let's start right at the beginning. I'm going to pull each of these cards out and give them a nice turnaround on camera so you guys can see them. Beautiful Cosmos holo patterns on these cards. And something I should mention as we go through these is I have never opened a pack of this set, or most of the Gen 4 sets for that matter. I played all the way through till the end of EX Power Keepers. I absolutely loved the entire EX era, and of course that means I started around base and went through that, and then in the gap between Gen 3 and Gen 4, both for the Game Boy game and the TCG, I became interested in other things, such as speed solving the Rubik's Cube, playing Guitar Hero, StarCraft 2, and a lot of other social activities. So, what that means is that I really fell out of Pokemon for a while, and Gen 4, including the Heart Gold Soul Silver era, I just never collected cards. So all of the cards you're seeing here are ones that we have collected after the fact. So none of them were pulled ourselves. Because of this, the fact that I have never opened packs from this era and didn't really play much at the time, I like to call Diamond and Pearl and Heart Gold Soul Silver era TCG cards the Forgotten era. And that's partially because, for me, all of these arts are extremely unique and very, very interesting to me because of how novel they are. But also because most players, current and past, don't really seem to have significant memories of these kinds of sets. It takes a very specific kind of person to have been playing at the time, you know, to build memories with some of these cards that most people nowadays don't even know about. So, even modern Pokemon collectors, they know about base set. They know about Fossil and they know about Jungle. They know about the crystals and the shinings from Neo Destiny, but how many of them know about level X's or primes? How many of them know about the reverses, the reverse shinies? So, for that reason, I like to call this era the Forgotten era. If the arts you're seeing here are appealing to you, then collecting these sets is actually really, really affordable too. Because most of these cards, of course, aside from the fancy ones at the end of the set, and the cards featuring very specific sought-after Pokemon, like Umbreon, they're actually very, very affordable. So, very fun to look for these, and to go out of your way to collect them. However, if you go to card shows, you're not going to find a lot of these cards. So, just a word of warning there. Alright, so we just went through all of the holos there, and I'd like to take a quick turn back to say we got 2 Magnezones, which I did not mention. But as 1 Steel and 1 Lightning type, very interesting that you're going to take up 2 out of your 11 holo slots on the same Pokemon. Not a very common thing to do. Alright. More interesting to most people than all of those, though, is this Gengar, which got both a normal and reverse printing in this set. This artwork is fantastic, and it's kind of hard to know what's even going on. It looks like these are water ripples over here, some water ripples there, maybe some leaves, so maybe it's going through like a spooky marsh or something. But that art is fantastic. I'm going to skip Gyarados until we get to the reverse section, but I'm going to pull out other cards like this Scizor. Scizor is generally a Steel type in the TCG, because being a Bug and Steel type Pokemon, Nintendo and most fans recognize that it is much more well known for its Steel typing than for its Bug typing. And so, they had given it Steel just about every printing, but during the Diamond and Pearl era, 2 or 3 different Scizors were printed with the Grass type instead of the Steel type. Alright, so we will continue along. Another fan favorite is this Tyranitar. Tyranitar art, generally always fantastic, and this card I think is no exception. It's quite tilted if you look at it like this, but I think the intent is for it to feel a little bit more animated, despite him being a fairly clunky mon. Alright, next up, I'll go back to pull out the Steelix. Steelix has always been a neat Pokemon. Not a lot of people love him, but of course if you're Coop, you'll love the Steelix. Alright, last one for now on these pages is this Budew. So not only is it a Yukimori art, which people really like, but also it has an attack called Buddy Buddy, which you search your deck for a Pokemon, show it to your opponent, and put it into your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. If any of you guys have collected the modern TCG and played the TCG at all, you will know of an item card called Buddy Buddy Poffin. So you'll get to see some similarities there. Alright, so let's flip through a little bit quicker and we'll get to the shiny stuff at the end of the set. Love this Scyther art, by the way. That art is fantastic. And I often like to flip through these binders and just really relearn all of these artworks that I never really got to fully experience when the set was coming out. This Stunky always looked so weird to me. And, oh yeah, the chunky Pikachu. Pikachu, very weird posing. You know, they don't usually give Pikachu this type of pose, and this was back when Pikachu was still allowed to have a little bit of a flab, a little bit of a chubby Pikachu vibe, so neat. Alright, so if I recall, this next flip will be the beginning of the good ones. And I was right. Alright, so get a lot of really neat trainers here. Most of them are not reprints. We got some new like Blower Plus, Drawer Plus, Healer Plus type cards here. And the art on these is actually really, really cool. Features different Pokemon performing some kind of action related to the trainer itself. So I'll just quickly pull out some of the other ones like that. Pokédrawer has a Lucario back there, so if you're a Master Set Lucario fan, you might want to pull that one. Pokéblower here has a Gabite and a Bidoof. Very neat. And we go up here to Energy Link, which has a Mime Jr. and a Krogunk. And the, well, second to last one, Energy Switch, Starly, and Chimchar. And finally, we go all the way over to Switch, which shows a Lucario stepping in for a Turtwig. But very neat, very neat. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the shiny stuff. Dusknoir, level X. This guy only had a Pokepower that took up the entire card. But regardless of that, this art is fantastic. I really like how they've decided to have the Pokemon exploding out of the picture frame and kind of interacting with the frame itself. So, what a beautiful level X this is. Dusknoir, of course, was introduced in Gen 4, and so he did not have a lot of cards up until this point. Next up, we have Heatran level X. This Heatran has both a Pokebody and a Pokepower, which had different functionalities in the TCG. Meaning Pokepower and Pokebody are treated differently, not the same. I don't mean that these two are different, because they obviously are. But, again, another fantastic art. Heatran was new from Diamond and Pearl, and so giving him a cameo here makes a lot of sense. I do really like how the eyes shine when you get it at a very correct angle. Next up, Machamp level X. He got a Machamp earlier in the set as well. Actually, all of these did, because you have to actually put these onto your Machamp or your previous Pokemon to level it up. So you don't go Machop, Machoke, Machamp level X. You go Machamp and then Machamp level X. Very neat. Alright, one of the more sought after ones from this set is the Raichu. For obvious reasons, Raichu is a very popular Pokemon. And finally, they make some Raichu art where he looks aggressive, rather than just a playful, friendly big brother to Pikachu. Alright, and now, this next flip is going to be the grand reveal for the set, although arguably these 4 were potentially grand as well, or potentially grander. Alright, so we're here and we get to see why I brought out some of those other cards. So we have the Regigigas Level X here, which I will pull out. The last of the Level X's from this set. Fantastic, fantastic. Exploding out of the frame as we've come to expect from these Level X's. And then we see that there are 3 secret rares, Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. Of course the Charizard needs to come out of the binder. And then we have these reverse shinies. But before we get there, let's pull out these guys one at a time. Got this Charmander, and all of these are reimagines of the base set artwork. So if you go back and you look at a base set Charmander, you will find a very similar art to this one. And I'll actually show it on the screen here for you guys. Next up, Charmeleon, similar deal. It's an updated art of the base set Charmeleon. I love this card. Well, I will show the other Charmeleon here. Okay, and finally, it's the Charizard. So, since it's a Master Set Monday, we actually already own this. This is not a placeholder for a card we need. So, let us dive into the Charizard Binder. We won't spoil too much, so we're going to use the French Dragonite as our bookmark to get into the page we need. Alright, so this has Secret Wonders Reverse Charizard on it. Of course, the previous page has the holo. Then we get the Stormfront Charizard that we're here for. We have the Supreme Victor's Charizard G Level X, which a lot of people love this card, and so I thought I should pull that out real quick. Very great copy of this. Next up, we have a non-holo Charizard G from the same set. Weird that they printed a Charizard that wasn't a holo, but I'm totally cool with it. Reverse holo Charizard from the Supreme Victors. And then the promo version of this Charizard G Level X. And then we have the Platinum Arceus. Charizard Cosmo Holo, which is the one from the set. Charizard Reverse. And then a quick show off of the next page. This is the Arceus Cracked Ice Holo of that Charizard. But if you want to see a little bit more about these guys, especially this Legendary Treasures Charizard, check out our Wishlist Wednesday from last week. Alright, but we are here for this Charizard. And this, yet again, a reimagined artwork of the base set Charizard. And it is beautiful. So let me hold it over here so you guys can see a comparison to the base set Charizard. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. I'm a huge fan of this card, not just because it's Charizard, but because I really like it when they do another reimagining of old cards. I don't really like it when old art is just like left to die. I really like it when it gets brought back every once in a while, like they did in Sun Moon Celestial Storm. Alright, so we close up the binder here, and we can throw Charizard into his rightful spot on the last page of the set. So, this is now a complete master set of this set. We left 2 gaps here, instead of just smooshing these 3 shinies up there, because these shinies have a unique numbering system. You can tell on the bottom right there, if I can get the camera to be nice, SH1. So this is not part of the set technically, even though you can pull it from packs. This is a new numbered order of cards called the SH, or Shiny line is what I'm guessing, and there's a total of 12 of them spread across 4 different sets. So, very, very cool. And something I'd like to point out is that Drifloon is a reverse holo, and the Drifloon that is a copy of is right here. So you can pull out that guy real quick, and boom. 2 Drifloons, one of them happens to be shiny, and has a unique attack and ability. Cool. Love it, love it. So, these came out in your reverse slot instead of the reverse holo. So, very cool. Next up, we have Shiny Duskull here. I quite like Duskull, but I'm not sure how many people really do like it. But these cards really show off scratches if you have scratches on there. So, keep them in good condition if you have them. Take very good care of them. And you will be rewarded greatly. Alright, finally for this set, we have the Shiny Voltorb. Neat. I really like Shiny Voltorb's coloring, and this card is no exception. So, let's quickly go through the other 9 shinies from the set of 12 shinies I was telling you about. Shiny Lotad, shiny Swablu, which actually kind of blends into the background up there. Shiny Vulpix, probably the most sought after shiny from this entire set, series of shiny cards. Shiny Melodic, shiny Relicanth, probably the least sought after of all the shinies. Shiny Yanma, shiny Bagon, shiny Ponyta, way up there in terms of being a favorite, and shiny Shanks. I absolutely love this card, and I'm on the search for getting one in better condition, because this one is a little bit yikes. Lots of scratching and scuffing on this guy, but still a wonderful card. Alrighty, so we can't have a master set without also having the reverses. So we will flip through these guys, but they're all mirror type holofoil, which means there's no fancy pattern behind the text box reverse holo section. It's just straight mirror. So we'll do a quick flip through, and I said before I'd come back to the Gyarados. Wanted to pull this card out because I absolutely love the art on this Gyarados. I think the art is fantastic, and it really shows off another side of Gyarados. I know basically all of Gyarados is a giant sea snake, but we don't often see Gyarados posed similar to this. So I thought that was very cool. Alrighty, so let's get this Drifloon put back in while we show off all of the other reverses that we have from this set. Alright, there we are. Drifloon gets to go back in there quite nice. And these last two pages have the remainder of the commons, that Pikachu, and the trainers. Alright, so that is Master Set Monday for Diamond and Pearl Stormfront. Do you like the level X's? Do you like the reprints of the Charizard Charmeleon line? How do you feel about these reverse shinies? If you collected at the time, did you also play? And if so, which decks did you like to play? I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. Also, I've pinned a comment below this video asking if anyone has any requests for sets. Master sets, wish lists, anything. So if you have a request, please go down there and throw it in that comment, and I will probably feature it in a very upcoming video. So, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.